Jensen Huang gave yet another special address. The rate at which this founder delivers mic drop keynotes is unprecedented. It seems like every time I look at the NVIDIA YouTube channel, he's delivered another amazing keynote. But this one, called AI-Inspired Innovation in Japan, was, yes, that's not clickbait, another special keynote. Inside this hour-and-a-half keynote, which included a sit-down with one of Japan's most notable tech investors and founders, Masayoshi Son, definitely included some notable moments. And I'm going to share with you what those moments are in this video. And hey, if we haven't met, I'm Julie McCoy. I work full-time in AI. I sold a 100-person writing agency in 2021 to adapt to what was coming. And in January 2023, I started working full-time in AI behind the production of over 50 million words per month, all generated by AI. And as of October 2024, I'm now running my own AI company called First Movers, where we build custom AI integrations to help businesses and marketing teams, as well as founders, feel empowered to become a first mover in their industry. Here on YouTube, I talk all about the rabbit hole of AI and how it will affect our work, our life, and our well-being. It is the intersection of those three things that will bring us into what I believe will be an age of abundance, should we choose to steward what's coming our way correctly. All right, so in this keynote, NVIDIA's CEO actually confirmed that AI is a $100 trillion opportunity. And we're going to get into that, but I'm going to take you through the most notable moments to me after watching this keynote that really stood out. You know, the special thing about Jensen is that every time he gets up on stage, he seems to be able to have this ability to earmark a change in the trajectory of where not only AI is going, but where technology has been, where it's going to go, and how it will affect verticals and industries. Of course, with NVIDIA behind the literal computer chip that fueled ChatGPT's launch, and with their technology behind much of the innovation. That's not to say they're the only innovators, but that's why Jensen has a lot to speak to, because he does. So to me, the first notable moment was when Jensen explained the GPU revolution, which is where we went from CPUs, central processing units, to GPUs, graphic processing units. And of course, if we look beyond NVIDIA, we have Google with TPUs, or tensor processing units. And those are specialized chips designed by Google to accelerate machine learning tasks, especially those that involve neural networks. TPUs are optimized for Google's TensorFlow frameworks. So yeah, NVIDIA is not the only innovator here, but knowing that we've actually left the era of CPUs and understanding what the GPU is capable of, which is basically this one huge fundamental shift where CPUs could handle individual smaller tasks, yes, complex tasks, but at an individual processing level, GPUs can handle thousands of tasks all simultaneously. Listen to Jensen explain the evolution of CPU and GPU.
Accelerated computing does not replace the CPU. In fact, we were just about the only company in computing who did not want to replace the CPU, but to augment the CPU so that we can take the workloads that are very computationally intensive and offload them onto the GPU. These are GPUs, that's the CPU. Working together, we can take advantage of the best capabilities of both processors. One that is extremely good at sequential processing, the CPU, and a processor that's incredibly good at parallel processing called the GPU. This I'll talk about in just a second, but this is accelerated computing. Not just parallel computing, but accelerated computing. CPU and GPU working together. This computing model is brand new to the world. In fact, just using the CPU has been around since 1964, the year after my birth. 60 years in the making. The vast majority of everything we see in the world today running on computers are running on CPUs. But there's a new change, a fundamental change in the computing model.
So one of the biggest changes that Jensen hit on is that we are in this era of accelerated computing. It's not that we've ditched the CPU, it's that it's not the only way to process data any longer. It used to be. So now we have the GPU, the CPU. We have a combination of strengths, which enables faster, far better computation. But since you just can't transfer traditional CPU software to GPUs for parallel execution, NVIDIA has developed supporting libraries, over 350 of them, to support various applications of how this is being used. When you look at neural networks, which operate a lot like our brain and how they work in parallel, like matrix multiplications, tensor computations, well, that doesn't work on good old sequential processing, which is the CPU. The GPU has been optimized by NVIDIA to handle parallel processing. And that's done through NVIDIA's CUDA library, which Jensen talked about quite a bit in this keynote as well. And it is truly a hallmark moment when a computer system that has been in use since the 1960s has been entirely revolutionized in order to run what is essentially a replication of our human brains, but on computer chips. That is magical. Okay, so the other notable part of this whole keynote was when Jensen sat down with Masayoshi Son, who he called Masa. This is a Japanese billionaire technology entrepreneur, the founder of SoftBank Group company. What was funny was how Jensen kept joking with Masa that he didn't invest in NVIDIA when Jensen told him to, and he lost out on a potential infinite more billions of dollars. He did say that Masa has successfully predicted almost every technological revolution. Masa is known for his crazy, bold investment strategies, and for many years, he was actually known as the person who lost the most money in history, more than $59 billion, during the dot-com crash of 2000. But Masa's not suffering, and those risks have paid off because he's worth about $30 billion today. So NVIDIA isn't just about building better processes, although Jensen started his keynote with that. When he sat down with Masa, he unveiled their strategy to build what they're calling entire AI factories. And they also announced a massive partnership between Jensen and Masa to build Japan's largest AI infrastructure. You know, it's amazing to me to see Jensen go into all these different countries like India, Japan, of course, America, sit down with world leaders and unite around supercomputers, building AI factories, literally changing the world across the globe. Listen to what Jensen says when he sits down with Masa and talks about the future.
You might know him. This friend of mine is really genuinely unique. Where is Masa? Where's Son-san? Is he here? Hey. Yeah, Son-san. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Masa.
Great Jensen.
Okay, so it wasn't clickbait when I said that Jensen confirmed on stage that this industry of artificial intelligence will be worth $100 trillion. This is close to the hour mark, and I want you to listen to this clip where you're going to hear that, as well as Jensen talk about this idea that I firmly believe in, that this evolution of artificial intelligence is in fact not just a transition of the IT or tech industry, but a transition and a growth of every single industry, because AI is one of the only industries that has emerged with this much speed in humanity that will literally touch every single point of work and how we work. So here you go, the clip where Jensen talks about the $100 trillion opportunity in the room and how AI will shape everything as we know it.
That AI model doesn't have to run in the factory. That AI model can run in the SoftBank radio. The computer industry went from PC to internet to cloud to mobile cloud to AI.
Yeah. Long journey.
Masa is the only entrepreneur, only innovator in the world that has selected the winner and partnered with the winner in every single generation. Remember, It was Masa that brought Bill Gates to Japan. It was Masa that invented or brought Jerry Yang to Japan. It was Masa that made possible for China's cloud industry to happen, Alibaba. It was Masa that brought Steve Jobs to Japan and the iPhone. For the very first time, this new type of software, neural network, large language models, agents, robots, are not tools, but they are skills, they're tasks. They do work.
Yeah.
They can perform work. And the industry, the market, the industry of work is not $1 trillion, is $100 trillion. And that's the reason why we realized that this industry is in fact not a transition of the IT industry, but this is a transition of every industry.
Yes.
Which is the reason why it's such a big deal. Several things that I want to ask you. So one, how would SoftBank use this yourself for SoftBank and your subsidiaries? And how do you imagine this AI grid will revolutionize AI here in Japan?
Yeah. As you just mentioned, our cell towers used to just carry bits for the telecommunication and internet surfing and so on. However, now with this intelligence network that we densely connect each other, become one big neural brain, right, for the infrastructure of intelligence for Japan. They used to say monozukuri, meaning making physical stuff. Physical stuff has the a real value and a real meaning, and software is something virtual that they don't trust the value of software. Mm-hmm. That has been the mentality for many, many years in Japan that led young startup guys, the young generations, discouraged.
If you have domain expertise, you can describe your expertise in data. That data could be used to train an AI model. Yep. That AI model becomes your artificial intelligence.
That's right. At least Japanese government is not trying to, depress this AI revolution. Some of the other countries, they try to be overprotective of the intelligence, artificial intelligence, so the regulation goes a little crazy. Here in Japan, at least we are lucky that this time, Japanese government seems not, trying to depress. At least no handicap, okay? So I think but they should encourage more. They should encourage more. As you said, this is a reset. This is the catch-up moment for this new revolution. We can't miss this time. Whatever the applications of AI, you should also help some donation, right?
Okay.
Hey, Jensen, for some startup and researchers.
This is the last time I'm inviting Masa to. Every time I see Masa, it costs me money.
Yeah. Well, that's good for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. Very happy about that. Yeah. Masa, what are you most excited about for the future of AI in Japan? What do you hope? What is your dream?
Well, look, as you say, I am passionate about AI robotics. I think the AI medical solutions. I think medical AGI is definitely coming. I think a lot of new agents. I think personal agents will really come to every one of us. Bill Gates said the PC on every desktop. Steve says, smartphone on every your hand. I think Now, we should say AI agents to everybody. So each of us should have our own personal agents.
That's right.
Second body to see you, grow together with you, knows everything. You're sick, your health.
Your tutor,
Yeah.
since you were a child.
Exactly.
Yeah, remembered everything that you read, remember everything that it taught you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Your personal Aristotle.
Totally. Digital twin,
Yes. And the most important part is the first part, is that a national grid, an AI grid has to exist.
Right.
You cannot have an automotive industry if there are no roads.
Totally.
And so now you have built the AI roads for Japan. On top of it, all kinds of new services, new companies can flourish.
Totally.
So I'm really excited about that. Well, Masa-san, could you imagine if today you were the largest shareholder?
Oh my God.
NVIDIA's CUDA library is also something that's truly revolutionary, and I want to end the highlights from this keynote with a little clip of Jensen talking about just how revolutionary these are. Their CUDA library is like the bridge from all these applications to enable GPU to handle the heavy lifting in deep learning computations. Here's a clip where Jensen talks about the CUDA library.
One of the most important libraries we ever created, called cuDNN. cuDNN for deep neural networks, which processes the different layers, the various layers of the deep learning stack. It enabled us to do something extraordinary. By creating cuDNN and accelerating and democratizing deep learning, we made it possible in the last decade to scale artificial intelligence and scale machine learning by 1 million times. Increasing the scale of machine learning by 1 million times enabled, of course, the incredible breakthrough that we now know, ChatGPT, the advent of artificial intelligence. cuDNN did something very special. It enabled a change in the way that software is done. This is the way that software was done before.
I believe one of the most important takeaways you could gather from this video right now, and I'll tell you, a lot of smart people watch my channel, so you already know this, but I want to reinforce it even if you know it, and I want to share it with those of you that are not aware. You need to know that AI is a fundamental infrastructure change, and it will affect everything. If you think you're in an industry, a place of work, a position that is completely safe, you are 100% wrong. And I guarantee you just haven't seen what AI is capable of yet. I get to see it on a daily basis with the brilliant people I get to work with, both on the inside of our team and the external on the client side in First Movers, my AI integrations consultancy. And I can tell you, we often blow minds by bringing people into the world of what's possible. And a lot of times that's just with generative AI. If you add infrastructure to that, if you add swarms of agents talking to each other, if you layer on the evolution of what this will be, yeah, we're looking at work automation across almost everything. And where that goes is also a question I'm exploring. I don't think it will be easy when we bridge the divide to go from our current universe and the way the world works, where capital is very much attached to labor, to this new world where we have, in fact, decoupled labor from capital. What will that look like? In my research, especially with the blockchain and crypto and Web 5, I do think we can have a beautiful world where our meaning isn't defined by the need to wake up and go work in a job that maybe we don't even like for a paycheck that barely covers the bills. I do believe that paradigm can change. And that is another realm of this that I'm exploring. And if you'd like to hear all of that, be sure to stay subscribed to my channel because we're going to go down all these rabbit holes, my friend. You're here with me. I'm not slowing down. I'm thrilled to see where we can go in the age of AI. Here's to the first movers, the people that embrace opportunity, that don't see change as an obstacle, but rather a vehicle for growth. The people that are willing to think differently are the people that are going to come out of this and win. As always, I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. It's a delight to be in this new age with you. I seriously still pinch myself every day because I can't believe we're living in the middle of this. It's a little bit insane. I'll see you in the comments, and you know what's coming next. I will also see you down the next AI rabbit hole.